So hope you're feeling better, Rob.
Thank you.
Um, and it's going to be a little bit of a slow night in the beginning here, so we're going to get an extended chat session with each other because our presenter, uh, Marty Woll, N6VI, some of you may know from way back. Marty's going to do a presentation, but he can't start till about 7:30. He may be a little early, he said, but it's probably going to be around 7:30. So we'll have a get to do our round table and stuff like that beforehand. So uh not sure else we should cover here. Rob, you got anything we should pledge of allegiance? All righty. Should have done that beforehand. All righty. We want to kick us off?
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge to the flag, United States of America, the republic which stands nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right. That. Oh, let's see. I was reading the newsletter. I'm trying to remember what was in the newsletter that I should cover now. Old business.
Chuck's here for a second meeting.
All righty.
See if we want to vote him into the club. So I move that we accept Chuck into the club. I second the motion.
All in favor? Done deal. And did he pay yet? Okay. Done. Any no's? Unanimous vote. Okay.
Thank you.
And I'm sure what else we do with any other old business? Yeah. Okay. Coming up, we got our Christmas party and coming up fast. December, which I think we're doing at the same place at the Brigantine in Poway. So we'll get that started kicking off here soon. Uh, I think 40. Yeah, we figure about 40 with spouses, significant others, friends. Usually ends up around 40. Yep.
Got a check.
Right. That's a
Didn't bounce.
that's fantastic.
Cash back.
New business that we don't know about. What else do we cover, Rob? I don't have a script.
Well, you hit the the party, and it's going to be, I think, December 15th, if my mind's correct. It's on the Sunday, and it's 1 to 4 at the Brigantine in Poway. Our website for ordering merchandise is just about ready to go on live, where we can where everyone can order their shirts and hats and coffee mugs and whatnot online directly from the company. So you can deal with them directly and you don't have to go through a middleman, and you can order anytime. It's not like we have to have a certain minimum by a certain date and things of that sort. And we have a pretty good selection of colors and pocket, no pocket, silk screen on the back or no silk screen on the back. And we also have as an option button down collars. So when that's on online, it'll be both on our website and on our newsletter with the URL so that people can look at it directly.
The prices were really attractive on the shirts too, considering
Yeah.
they're one-offs.
Right. And it's the main shirts are 35-65 cotton polyester. So I think it's a pretty good collection of materials so that we can have some nice shirts to show. I'm not sure if Brian got his yet. He ordered them from the company. Has yours come yet, Brian?
Yeah, no, I ordered a shirt and a coffee cup. I haven't got anything yet.
Okay,
And they had hats too with the club logo and I think your call sign on the back of the hat.
yes.
So that was pretty nice. So yeah, it was a nice little storefront. Looks good. Anything else then? Or should we just jump straight into the roundtable?
Is someone going to talk about the DX Marathon, Bud?
Uh, I don't
Bob, I don't see him yet.
I don't see Bob here. I mentioned it to him in an email, but I don't see him online here. So, uh, Bob, newsletter Bob, not IGN, not LaRose. Yeah. Anyway, I don't see him here yet. So hopefully, if he does come on, we can get a quick. We're hoping to have him do a quick rundown on the DX Marathon, which is basically a DXC that renews that you start over at the beginning of every year. And so like a national or maybe worldwide contest to see who can get the most DXEC countries in a year. And the club is sponsoring an award with that, which actually, Brian, did we get a payment off to the world the DX guys? Meeting, I guess we'll. Yeah. So, so anyway, the DX Marathon sounds like an interesting thing to sponsor and be involved with.
Just 1 year.
Every year it renews. So you get you work to see how many DXCCs you can get in a year, and then you start over again the next year.
And hopefully the same country are still there.
Yeah, yeah. So it's an interesting way to do it, and I guess it keeps it's yet another contest. So, and we do have I forget who we have for a presenter next month. I think it's the antenna guys. To look it up on my phone. Okay, well, I guess we'll just jump straight into the roundtable and start.
Jerry W6KIN, nothing to report on DX. I tried to work from some DX from Hawaii over the week with the wet noodle. Didn't get anywhere, but it was fun.
From Wellington, K6SMT. Haven't been on the air for a while. I got a new granddaughter, so I'm babysitting.
Bud E6BH. I did pretty good with a few of the D expeditions. Was really impressed with how fast Jarvis confirmed on LOTW. Not all of it, only the CW contact. They didn't confirm the FT8s yet. So that was kind of interesting to me, but otherwise it's been pretty quiet. I noticed the sunspots haven't been quite as high, and the A and the K have been noisy the last few days or week. So I haven't been bothered. I take a quick look, but I haven't been really getting on the air much.
Michael KB60, similar story. I turn the radio on and I move around, and it's not been hasn't been all that great the last couple of weeks.
Tom W0NI, too busy with other things and just no report.
Donald with N6VTF, really no report this month.
Hello, everybody. Tom, N6JOJ. I have given up sorting cards for the Bureau, the B segment, and my memory's going to pot. I can't remember half stuff I'm supposed to do. And so I'm giving it up. If you look at the website, it says I'm retiring. They need a new sorter for the B segment. So if anybody knows anybody's interested, it's definitely on an Excel database, and got lots of money in the bank. And a lot of guys out there are still DXing. We don't get cards too often anymore, but as Ed can contest to. But other than that, I've been doing other things. I haven't really been on the radio a whole lot. Chuck?
I'm the proudest new member, and my name is Chuck Wood, WD6APP. It's nice to be in the club.
Brian, KN6MJK, treasurer. Been in Texas, so I don't have a lot to report. I was back seeing my kids in Texas and looking around back there. Just northeast of Dallas. So pretty hot, pretty humid back there. One day got rain, one night got rain and thunder and lightning, which was pleasant for me because we don't get to see a lot of that here. But radio wise, I took my handheld, and I don't know if they just don't want to talk to sixes or what, but one of the guys we know is living back there. So he gave me all the repeaters and I plugged them all into my handy talkie, and I could hit the repeater and open them up, but nobody was coming back to me. So I should have said a 5 or something. No, I just put the call sign out there monitoring and nothing. So, all right then, Danny.
Yeah, Danny, WB6FWS. Not a whole lot really going on as far as my radio goes, although it still works. I have turned it on and dialed around, but haven't attempted any contacts. Maybe the reason why the people over in Texas there, they were all in FT8.
Well, that could be.
But anyway, Ron, WA6YOU over there in Virginia, asked me to say hello to everybody. He couldn't make it tonight because he has an early reveille tomorrow. I guess he has a service, or I guess someone's being buried over there in Arlington, one of his veteran friends, I'm sure. So he wanted to say hello to everybody, and he normally has been showing up pretty regular. So hello there, Ron, when you view the video after this is all said and done. Other than that, I'll turn it over here to Steve.
Steve, K6RSH. Not much. I still can't hit the Indian Ocean worth a flip or the Falkland Islands. And India is, I still haven't heard India. I guess it's my antenna and low power, only barefoot. So I'm thinking about some of the, I understand there's some sites like in the Northeast United States where you can rent like 30 minutes time and go on their site and then get your QSOs that way. I may have to do that if I'm going to try to get more countries, I guess. It doesn't count. Well, so much for paying for that then. Anyway, I'll try to up my power and I'll try to do what I can, but 6 meters hasn't been nothing for me this month, but 10 was hot yesterday. And I noticed that 80 meters is opening back up too. And that's it.
I'm Mark KI6IT. I listen every day, pre-dawn through the sunrise and after, listening to the bands and see what's going on with the solar activity. A lot of storms, as you said, it's been pretty active. I'll be gone for 7 weeks. I'll be on the East Coast, but I'll be using the club station at W1AF. So it'll be interesting to be back on the East Coast, and they have a great antenna system, and hopefully it'll work out.
So I guess we'll go work our way around the screen. And looking at the screen here, that one's easier to see. Bob, IGN, what's up?
Nothing really. I just the last time I had it on, I worked Jarvis, which was what, about 3 weeks ago or whatever. Other than that, I really haven't even turned it on. I did get my amplifier back, so and I'm finding the patch cords to it. So hopefully, I'll have everything out in the garage and ready to run. That's about it.
All right. How about you, Rob? IHV.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry I couldn't make it with you. Since you've all eaten dinner, I can give you the ins and outs. I have an infection in my GI tract, and they're going to start me on some antibiotics. Apparently, none of the pharmacies here in San Diego had it, so they have to order it. And so I'll be starting tomorrow on a 10-day course, but hopefully that'll take care of it. It really kept me up most of the night, so I was kind of washed out, and I wasn't sure how infectious or not I was going to be, so I kind of decided not to come tonight. But thank you all for coming, and if you have any questions about the newsletter or the merchandise site, just give me a yell, either a phone call or an email, and I'll be happy to answer it. And Mark, I also I was hoping to talk to you, but I didn't make it to the meeting today. But I want to make sure that my assessment of the solar activity is spot on, since I'm not a astrophysicist. And so I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants when I make the proclamations in the president's column about the solar activity. I guess back to you, Bud.
All right. About Bob, ACU. How you feeling? You're muted there, Bob.
Yeah, hi, thanks. Sorry I'm not there. I picked up COVID on a trip back east. And so hopefully at the tail end of it, while I was back east for a wedding, I got to make my yearly visit to the Antique Wireless Association Museum south of Rochester, which is something that out of this world. And then I also stopped at Chatham, Massachusetts, to the Marconi Museum and the former WCC coast station facility. And I know if you grew up on the East Coast, you did code practice to some of these coast stations. So that was kind of a thrill. I did work both Jarvis and St. Paul's. Is it St. Peter's or St. Paul's, whatever it is, on numerous bands. And, conditions are up and down. It's amazing that 10 meters is holding up in the evenings so late compared to a few years ago. Very disappointed in 6 meters. I would have thought that by now that the F2 propagation on 6 meters would start kicking in. I see on the map that there's a lot of contacts being made right now, trans-equatorial, but not on the West Coast, unfortunately. So we're watching for that. Sorry again, I'm not there, and we'll see you guys next month.
All right. How about you, Jim? What's up?
Hi, Jim, K6ZH. Good evening, everybody. Just got back from a trip to the East Coast, had nothing to do with ham radio. However, just before that, we went to our place in Goldfield, Nevada, and I operated CW Sprint up there. I've always wanted to do that, thinking this, for those of you that know Sprint, you can't just run a frequency, but I was hoping being in Nevada would give me a little bit of an edge. I did okay. I've done better. I've done worse. But it is what it is. But now they've expanded the size of what's considered a contest club. So Goldfield, Nevada is part of the Southern California Contest Club. Go figure. Anyway, so we did that. Yeah, I worked Jarvis, worked St. Paul before we went. Next big event for me, ham radio wise, is going to be CQP, this California QSO party, which is the first weekend of October. N7CW and Danny, N6ERD, and I and Dave, N6EEG, will be once again going out to Desert View Tower in Imperial County. This is the 20th or so time we've done this, and we generally do very well. if you want to see, if you've never been to the Desert View Tower and you want to see what we're doing, it's the first weekend of October. The contest runs from 9 o'clock Saturday morning to 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon. And we have an antenna trailer, which is parked up in Ramona. And Dennis N6KI keeps it healthy for us. And we've owned that trailer. That's old Harvey K6QK's trailer, for those of you that remember him. And so anyway, that's that coming up. And also the last thing I wanted to mention, I got an email that looked like it was from the ARL about a week ago, basically offering me money for being an active ham. And I know that Rob, WA3IHV, got that email. He said he deleted it. I forwarded it to a number of people, including Dick N6AA, and Dick says it's legit. And he's somebody enrolled in that. Did anybody else in the room get that email about I don't know why I got it, but I wasn't the only one by any means. Well, Rob, you got it, right?
Yeah, I don't know why I got it. I figured it was just a fishing expedition.
Well, I did.
$5 thing?
Yeah, they would pay you $50 for being an active ham, basically, and then every time you do something. So anyway, Dick Norton said it might actually be legit and has something to do with HMOs and healthy lifestyle if you're an active ham. I don't know, but anyway, Dick has said one of his friends is enrolled in it, and he'll report back and let us know. I mean, I don't care about the $50 or whatever, but I thought it was, when I read it, I thought at first, well, that's really cool. And then I thought, oh, wait a minute, because I probably have to give somebody a bank account number in order to put money into it. So anyway, we shall see. So anyway, CQP is the next big event for me.
All right. How about you, Ron? Haven't seen you in a while.
I've been busy, finally getting my cage built for the tower, put in the hole, which is bigger than it's supposed to be because of organic material, because this was a sawmill where I'm living. And the organic material is about a foot and a half. So I had to go a foot deeper and a foot wider. So instead of 5 by 5 by 7, it's 6 by 6 by 8. A lot of concrete, rebar cage. I don't want to tell you what that cost. Having it built, it's large, and having everything else done. Physically, I'm not as healthy as I used to be, so I have to hire most of it to be done, except for putting the stepper together. And I may add the trouble into that. What else going on? FT8, I worked a little FT8 and also worked a few, around 66 people who don't really need it, but worked it. And FTA, a few countries, I'd have to look it up right now, but nothing really other than that. What else is going on? Got several meetings. I'm a vice president of a club out here, not a DX club, of all clubs. It's kind of a 2-meter club, which I won't be running again or be available again, put it that way. And just help them out. So, and I was doing the same thing as the vice president would for the San Diego DX club, getting presenters. So that's all for me. Nice to see everyone. Back to you.
Good seeing you, Ron. How about you, Ed?
Hello, Ed.
Might be muted, Ed. Well, maybe I'm not turning on. You there, Ed?
It looks like he's muted.
He's definitely muted.
Yeah.
But could be stepped away. Well, that's the round table. Maybe Ed will join us in a little bit here. And we've got about a good 15 minutes to a half hour before Marty shows up. He said he might be here early, but he was expecting 7:30. So I guess we have a half an hour to chat amongst ourselves, or unless there's somebody wants to talk about something specific about what's going on in their shack, or
but I had a couple of items I wanted to talk about, being that
All
we have
right.
some extra time. One is the club has a number of awards that we can give away or not give away at the end of the year. We have DXer of the Year and Lifetime Achievement and on and on. So I outlined them in the newsletter a few months ago. But if anyone knows of anyone or they know of themselves have worked a number of new countries in the year to be the Rookie of the Year, let either myself or Bud know, because we'd like to, at the Christmas party, give these awards to the various members. And then we may also mention them at Visalia next year. So this past year we didn't give any out, and I think for 4 or 5 years the club hasn't given any out. We were kind of on the ropes and not doing much. So we'd like to get back in the swing of honoring the more active people. So if anyone knows of anyone, some of the newer people that have worked more countries during the year, that would be good, and we'd like to do that.
I have another item to mention. I got an email, probably a lot of you did too. I think October 1st is going to be the opening date for rooms for Visalia next year. And what we did last year for that was I called the Comfort Inn or Comfort Suites or whatever it is, this downtown that's across the street from the Marriott at the appointed hour. And they called me. They said they took our list of names, and a couple of hours later, they called back. It was probably not even that long. And so we got rooms over there at Comfort Suites, which I preferred to the Marriott for a couple of reasons. And so, but anyway, that was my understanding for Visalia next year. The room become available on October 1st, which is next Tuesday.
Well, hey Ed, hey, we were doing our roundtable a little bit ago and we missed you.
Hey, it's my fault. I got hung up upstairs. And I'll say good evening to everybody. It's good to see the DX Club. And don't have a whole lot going on here, just mainly playing the contest weekends. And been working the state QSO parties pretty heavily. Doing pretty well on that if I can finish out. Probably the biggest thing is I've got a 160 meter inverted L in process. I about got it finished. I got to put on a few more radials, and that's looking real good right now. I've got about half of the radials in, and I'm hanging in there at 1.01 at 1840 down in the CW section. So I'm hoping it'll work out as winter comes on. So looking forward to that. I do have a 160 meter dipole up, but I wanted to try the inverted L to get the vertical aspect of it. Got a pack of DX cards for the first time in quite a long time. So that was kind of exciting. Got that the other day. Other than that, just having fun operating and about staying with the contests, working the weekend. I'll be on Riddy this weekend, hopefully put in a good amount of hours to try to make a score. Other than that, that's it. And good to see everybody.
Ed, I just wanted to say this, Jim, K6ZH. I was KG7 Nancy Victor during sprint, so I appreciated the Missouri multiplier, and I gave you the Nevada multiplier.
You got it. You bet. Thanks, Jim. And I've got that call memorized. So when I see it,
Good.
I know it's you and it's Nevada.
It is Nevada.
Yeah. Thank you.
You bet.
Ed, real quickly, what are the dimensions of your inverted L? I too have a off-center fed dipole for 160, and it's not up nearly high enough. It's a real cloud burner, and performance is poor. And I was thinking of building a inverted L with 90 feet vertical and then the rest horizontal.
Oh, if you've got 90 feet vertical, you're doing a lot better than me. I just have 40 feet vertical because I've only got a 40-foot tower, but my hex beam is on a 10-foot mast, so it gets it up at least about. I am at let's see, I used the formula 234 over the frequency, and that got me into the ballpark. But with the radials, I'm probably down around somewhere around 80 to 82 feet plus 40. So whatever you've got, you would take it away from that formula.
Right.
And yeah, so that's what I'm finding. I have 7 radials. The 2 longest ones are 98 feet, which is a specific on that. And then the balance of them are down around, I've got a couple at 60 feet. I've got a couple at about 30 feet. And then I think one at, let's see, yeah, I left out 40 feet, somewhere right in those ranges. I'm going to put on hopefully about 7 more and try to max out the length, the longer ones. But yeah, I'm at 40, right at 40 plus about 80, I would say 81, 82, right in that range. I've had to make a couple of adjustments, so I need to remeasure total length. And I could shoot you an email if you felt that would be helpful, because I'm going to measure it as soon as I finish up the radials.
Are your radials all on the ground?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll reconnect with you because I'm still kind of in the thought process of whether I want to do this or not. But my 160 antenna is not useful with 160 season coming up. I'd like to have something better.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm using just a big, I can't remember, what is it, number 8? Yeah, number 8 copper wire that I used in my tower installation for grounding. And I made a loop out of it and attached the radials to it. And then that goes right to the 1-to-1 balance. So yeah, just let me know. I'll be happy to. I'm AI60 at ARRL.net, or if you shoot me an email, we can text and maybe even do a Zoom if necessary.
Okay, good. That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Back to you, Bud.
So Ed, this is Jerry. I was wondering if you have any pictures of your endeavors so far? Any
I don't have, but I can do that.
Okay, for next time.
Yeah. All right. I'll take some pictures.
Right.
Yeah, I've been wanting to build one of the vertical 160s. There was an article some years ago in QST where basically I think it was about 40 feet of PVC tube that nested together nicely in a telescopic sort of fashion, with just basically a coil all the way the full length, and a few radials, and apparently it was shown to perform pretty good just for 160, because that was about the only thing I can pull off at my house.
Yeah, yeah. The 40 foot is well, I've heard this. I can't prove it, but 40 foot is a good starting point. And if you've got that much, you're probably going to be able to make it work. I've also was thinking here, I've got a friend, K0TRL. He's over about 40 miles west of me over in the Kansas side of the city. And he's building the same thing I am, but he's doing the feed point a little bit differently. I'm going to talk to him, take some pictures of his, and maybe I can include that as well.
Yeah, no, 160 is a tough one for a lot of us to achieve. So it's
Yeah.
my list of things to do when I have a chance to get out in the yard and play with that stuff.
Yeah. This is the first time I've really had 160. So it was good with the dipole last year. I did fairly well. I'm just hoping to improve that as well.
Anybody else, anything they want to bring up for the next 15, 20 minutes? We could. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Do the drawing. Everybody online can see who wins.
While you're setting up, I wanted to welcome Chuck to the club. Hope you enjoy things, and if you have any questions, just ask around.
Could we hear a little bit about his background?
Well, hi, I'm Chuck, and I've been a ham since early 1977, and I am an extra coded. And one of my goals is to get my speed back up, and I'd like to do some CW. I was really interested in my first meeting here in the program that the guy put on, and I can't use stainless steel wire anymore. So I'm gonna, because I thought, oh, this is cool, and I had a whole roll of it. Yeah. So right now for HF, all I have is that dipole, 164 feet, but I'm going to take it down and I wonder if anybody would have what would be the best wire to put up there, the number 10 or number 12 or anything?
Can we swing the camera around? We can't see him.
Yeah, swing the camera around. Okay.
Bud, hey Bud, break. Can we swing the camera around so we can see
Yeah,
our
I have
member?
Oh,
Is it stranded or solid?
it's stranded.
Yeah.
It performed really well for the last, 10.
Somebody swing it.
I think Brian may have the joystick. Brian, can you
Well,
swing the
I,
camera around so we can
I
see?
wanna-
There we go. Great. Oh,
I won a 7610 a couple of years ago, and it's still still in the box, but I want to get that going. And unfortunately, I lost my wife 4 months ago, and it's just upset the apple cart, as you can imagine. So that's my one goal, to get that going and get back on HF, and I'm more interested in just DX. Just I'm not interested in hunting DX, what is it called? DX? Yeah. And but I hope to get that done in the next 6 months or so. So
Okay, welcome.
oh, okay. Yeah, I know him.
unless
Yeah.
you're running high power, you probably don't need a wire that's that thick. And with any length, it'll be pretty heavy and will probably stretch with time. So maybe something a little bit less robust.
What?
Over 14 gauge.
Yeah.
Yeah, 14 should be
Well,
fine.
I live, my situation is I live over here in Mission Hills in a canyon, and it's pretty low noise. And if the signal goes straight up from there, I'm probably going to be pretty good shape. So I'm going to give it a try. I'll be here getting some advice from you guys, and I'm really glad to be up here because I know a lot of you here. and I appreciate it.
Okay. So it's 7:13.
Marty should be with us shortly.
All right.
7:30 is what he was scheduled for. He said he might.
Did anybody see the information from ARRL about DXCC updated as of, I guess, today? I don't know if you saw the email, or it's on their website, I guess.
Yeah, everything that comes out makes it obvious that the intrusion was way worse than we've heard so far.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even going into their online backup, for Christ's sake. Jeez Louise.
Well, the one interesting thing there I saw was that the one server or computer they had has such an old version of Windows
Yeah.
that it can't be updated, and so that kind of tells you where they've been at.
Well, it is kind of what's for dichotomy, I guess, which is the oxymoron, a dichotomy that a really high-tech outfit like ARL would be using a 20-year-old version of Windows. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand, but there you go.
Yeah.
They probably got it from Dennis.
And using CT, yeah,
Yeah.
DOS 3.1.
Yeah.
That said, in my former industry, a lot of platform. I work on a lot of oil platform instrumentation systems, and to this day, they still operate Windows 98 with good reason. It's very, very, very stable. They're not connected to the internet in any way, shape, or form, and they prefer that well-known, well-documented, very stable platform as their. And there's people that are building systems right this minute are still fielding Windows 98 because that's what works. So it is the right thing for certain applications, just not anything that's exposed to the internet.
Yeah. And then if they did try to upgrade, all the drivers would be bad, right?
Well, these guys are building systems that they've been building for 20 years, and they're using the same hardware. A lot of these companies scour places like eBay for old serial interface cards, old video driver cards, old hardware, so that they don't have to worry about any new drivers.
Yeah.
Alive and well.
What's the latest next big de-expedition that we're looking for?
I've been watching what is it, DX World. We get reunions starting up right now. Forget who else was coming online. There's the guy who's doing the trip around Africa. I guess he's headed to Botswana next. He's in Tanzania now. Where was he before that? Yeah. But he's been spending about 2 or 3 weeks in each of these African countries, working his way around. And I think he's in Tanzania right now, and his next stop around the beginning of the month was Botswana. I can't remember the other countries that were coming up. Should pull it up on my phone and look.
I saw a guy in Zimbabwe come up last night on 20, I guess it was, FT8, but he was there and gone before I could think about it. And he was weak to start with. That would have been a new one for me.
was pretty impressed with the way, did you guys all update to use the new, Super Fox,
Yeah.
functionality? That was actually pretty cool. And when you
works.
look at what
Yeah.
it looked like on the spectrum, on
Yeah.
the waterfall, the, it looked like it was an FT8. It was sort of, and if you listen to it, if you turn your speakers on for a second, it was kind of a
Yeah.
it filled up the whole spectrum, and it
Yeah.
was just hopping all over the place.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of a British um, uh, government system they had back in the 70s called Piccolo,
Yeah.
where it was a bunch of different discrete frequencies, each of which was, I guess, a character and whatever, but it sounded just like that. It's
And
very
you could see when they were replying, whether they were running, 2 or 4 or 8, kind of number of reply channels going on. It was really pretty neat.
Yeah. Well, that was the big thing, is it doesn't cut down on their power.
Right.
They try to stretch it between those conversations so that it was full power, and it was very effective, I thought. It was interesting that some of them switched over to standard FT8 later on in the expedition because people were complaining they couldn't figure out how to use the new
They didn't
system.
read the directions, yeah.
Right.
Because it was very clear if you read a little bit on the
Yeah.
site.
Well,
yeah.
they did mention though that they were going to do FT8 straight, regular Foxhound later, which they did.
Yeah.
Joan and I both worked them. We had come back from a trip. We had a little window to get on, and we both worked them one night. And
Yeah.
but yeah, that's how we did it. It's because it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that I can't do it. I've been too lazy to download the new version.
Yeah, that's me.
Well, it was kind of cool. They even gave you, instead of having to dive all the way in through the menus, to the settings and then the advanced settings and then the Foxhound, they just put a button right on the main screen. I think they put an H on it. Or an F.
Let me ask you a question there, because I didn't dig down. Now, if you wanted to use the old Foxhound system, is there somewhere that buried in there if you need to revert back to that?
It's just in the regular advanced settings to turn on Foxhound.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I didn't bother.
if you want to use the Super Fox, so you got that little H button on the main
Yeah.
screen above, where you can select between
Yeah.
FT4 and FT8
Yeah.
and such. There's an H, and
Yep. And that's all I had to
straight
do.
to Super Fox
Yeah, that's all I had to do. But
without having to go to the menus.
Yeah.
Took me a while to figure that one out, but it was really cool.
Does it shift away from the standard?
No, wherever band they told you there, you gotta, you still had to pay attention to where they were operating, and the way you found that out was basically either go to their web page where they would have a list of what they were going to use as operating frequencies, or go on the cluster and see where everybody. I always use DX Summit and just watch and see type in the name of the call sign of the DXpedition, and then you'll see just them talking, and you'll see where exactly they're at, and you can then go, okay, I'll go to 14091 or something like that instead of 14074, and that's where they would be camped out. But they had it designated on the DXpedition website what they were going to use as operating frequencies for every place.
Well, and that's what the expeditions need to do. I get really frustrated when I'll be just casually tuning around. I'll notice that somebody who's a tad rare, like an A7 or a VU or something, is on FT8 and he's on the calling frequency. Like, no, move. Because we can't work you because you've got 10,000 guys in Asia and Europe calling you. So, but whatever.
I did notice at least once during when those guys were active a couple weeks ago, that there were two different expeditions on the same special frequency, one running Super Fox and one running regular FT8 at the same time, which I didn't see any problem from it, but it was kind of interesting. But I think the idea that they're going to all use these common DX frequencies is a pretty good idea, that you kind of can look for them on those frequencies without necessarily going to their website to check it out. You know, you can find them easier.
There were quite a few people, calling CQ, themselves on the D expedition, frequency range, whatever they,
Yeah.
wherever these were, were that people were using. But you'd see,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether they just finished doing their QSO with the D expedition and went back to just calling CQ to just start working DX on their own and forgot to switch over back to the standard frequency or what.
Yeah.
Or they were taking advantage of lots of people being on there and sort of looking at it and saying, there's fresh meat here. I'll call CQ as well.
Yeah.
To change direction a little bit, is anyone familiar with whether the remote station that Park was going to put up is up and operating? The Palomar Club? We still have a number of people that are antenna challenged here in San Diego, and if that could be accessed, that might be good for some of the people. When Steve was talking about
yeah, Rob, I can probably say a couple of words about that. I'm also watching that situation. They definitely have a radio, a 6400, I believe it is, Flex, and they have a tower and they have an antenna on the mountain. And the last I knew from Mark Raptis was that they're just waiting for good weather. So they have a modernization team and several people involved in that. They meet, I think, almost weekly. So something should happen fairly soon, but they've had that equipment for a long time, probably at least a year.
and is it going to be for Park members only?
What was that, Rob? What?
Is it going to be for Park members only?
No, I think out of charge, they're going to set it up so anybody can. They're in the process of determining how they're going to do the logins and allocate a certain number of hours per month for the members. And that would be gratis if you're a club member. But if you're not, I understand you'd be able to pay some fee. But they're working that out. But it is a Flex 6400. It's going to be on the mountain there and a nice antenna as well, which all of that they have it. Permits are approved, so the light is green.
I mean,
So,
Steve's saying he's having trouble getting into the Indian Ocean. Here we are coming into the peak of cycle 25, and I too have a hard time with the Indian Ocean from the West Coast. So it's something to consider.
Yeah, apparently up on Palomar Mountain, they're going to put up this similar to what, there's numerous of these radio stations around the country you can join for money and pay by the hour to operate. But apparently Park is putting their own up, which is a pretty cool idea. And what you guys were saying was done sort of through Phil's ARDC.
Yeah, a little background on it, as long as we're killing time here. Charlie N6VI years ago got a grant, a federal grant, I believe it was. I think it's like $17,000. This was several years ago. And they acquired the 6400, 6500, whatever it is, the Flex. Those are not cheap. And they got the tower up there and the antenna. So, no.
I thought it might be one of his grant things.
No, it isn't. It's a separate grant.
Okay.
But Charlie N6VI got it.
Might be a good reason to rejoin Park.
Maybe we could have Mark put a little blurb in our newsletter, because I think some of the club members may be interested.
I'm going to give him a call and see if he wants to do a presentation.
Yeah.
$728. Should see Marty pop up on the screen any minute. This is a cataract. I'm looking forward to it. When I hear how it goes. Yeah, my left eye is kind of wonky.
I wore bifocals for 10 years. Cataract surgery down
Wow.
Yeah. And I can still see.
Wow.
Go down.
Oh, yeah.
They show you that card, there's a different paragraph on it. You can read the bottom.
Wow. I'm looking forward to it. The guy I go in every 6 months these days and he keeps telling me it's coming, it's coming.
I guess they do about 3 million a year in the US.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's, nobody did them at Walmart these days.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I told him I want to get a fluid change in my left eye because it's got a big floater running around there too. And he's like, yeah, well, we can do that while we're at it.
Yeah.
Routines. Okay, we're gonna see you on Friday.
What?
Oh, here he is.
There he is.
Yep. There's
All right.
Marty.
Hello there. How we doing?
Hi there, Marty.
Howdy. Is my audio okay?
Your audio sounds perfect.
All right.
Good to
Hey,
see
Jim.
you. Been too long.
Yeah, it's been a while. Been a while. I've been busy, but Ron, what are you up to?
I'm living in Cottonwood,
Hmm?
putting up a tower in Cottonwood, Arizona.
Ah, okay. Very good. Very good. Get on microwaves, get out new grid square.
I don't do microwave, sorry.
Oh. All right. Jim, you operating out in Nevada recently?
Yeah, I was there. I did the CW Sprint.
Oh, nice.
We were there in early September. I've always wanted to do it from Nevada, and it went okay. I've done better, I've done worse. But as you know, in Sprint being anywhere, people don't stack up, ways to call you because it's the nature of the contest. But
yeah,
we've been doing pretty well out there, and we've done, a lot. Well, I know you're one of the many guys that worked from DM17 and for the grid square. So
yeah, on 6 meters. Yeah.
Yep.
It took a little effort, as I recall, but we got there.
And you and I did it at the CW. I've had better luck doing meteor scatter. And the best, of course, is FT8, but the distance is too close. So
yeah,
we did it though. I remember.
Yeah. Well, I don't really do the digital stuff except RTTY when I use a paddle with my K3. So it's that was good to do. Okay, where do you stand to the meeting? And tell me when you're ready.
We're basically ready when you are, Marty. I think we have to pass a control to you or something like that.
Well, yeah, just make me a co-presenter or something.
Right.
And then once I see I can share the screen and I see the button. Oh, disabled screen share. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Yeah, Jerry's setting that up right now.
Okay, you'll need to sprinkle some holy water on me or something. And
do you want to introduce Marty real quickly?
I guess I should, huh? Yeah. So Marty Woll, N6VI, I believe. Marty used to be our Southwest Regional Director for ARRL.
A Vice Director, yeah.
Vice Director, okay. A few years back, I remember when he used to come around and visit us our field day and doing the rounds and done quite a bit of de-expeditions and a lot of MCOMS work. And what else have I missed there, Marty? I mean, if I read your QRZ page and it's quite a litany there of what haven't you done.
Well, I've been fortunate to have a lot of good opportunities. So it makes it fun.
You had a station in Hawaii for a few years.
I did 92 to 96.
Several large towers.
6 of them
out of the world.
I think at the time it was the biggest non-government station in the Pacific.
Well, I think you're set up on able to share now.
All right, let me go ahead and give it a shot. Yes, you should be able to see the title slide.
Yep, looks perfect.
All right, very good. I hope this isn't a duplicate. I know I've given this at Visalia at least once and so on, but you know, I've been on quite a few expeditions, and this particular one was probably one of the most pleasant that I've ever done in terms of environment, and the teams are always good, of course, but this was an opportunity that I've been kind of hoping for a long time. So there are two subtitles to this thing. One is how to beat K3LR with verticals. Those of you who know K3LR's record in CQ Worldwide contests know that that is actually a real accomplishment. And the other one for a pessimist is how to win last place in Africa. Yeah, we did make top 10, but as you'll see when we show the maps, everything was a long way away. So I mentioned I've done a lot of contest expeditions for CQ Worldwide. This is what I've done so far. And it's 22 zones, I think, at this point. And I'm hoping to add another one this fall, at least one. You may recognize some of these calls over the years. Most of them are multi-op. I've done a couple of single ops, but mostly multi, which is more fun for me because, you know, we operate with a team and, you know, share our skills and our work, share the work, and share the luggage allowances. So there's several ways you can do this. The easy way is you find an existing station, you go and you're one of the guest stops, and we've done a few of those. You know, here's where when we arrived at 9 Alpha, 1 Alpha, it's not like we had to do any antenna work. They had quite a setup, and you don't see all the beverages that are out there too, which really helped. And they had stations set up for every band with controllers. So this was a matter of all I had to bring was my headphones. The harder way is to get an existing station and supplement it. You turn it typically from a single op to a multi-op. We did that in Australia, in Isle of Jersey, in the Philippines, and in Azores. And here, you know, we had stuff already set up, so we just added a couple of antennas. And then there's kind of the hard way. Now, it's not the hardest way. The hardest way is you get on an icebreaker and you're sailing some godforsaken place and have to land on a Zodiac. We don't do that. This is all fly-in. But in these cases, you basically start from bare ground and you build everything. And usually that involves about a week of time before the contest, including all the you know, testing and debugging and so on to make sure, you know, you have to nail the crossband interference and all those things. We use good filtering, but and this is going to be one of those. So there are a couple of things that have become extinct over the years. One is this creature. You may notice it's called the dodo bird, and the dodo bird was unique to one island, and that is Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, which not coincidentally is where I went. The other is generous baggage limits on airlines. I remember times when we could one trip down to French Guiana, we had a 15-meter antennas boom that was too big to go in luggage that let us bring it on board and lay it in the aisle. Try that these days. Or when we went to Galapagos and we had to rewire our guests home because all the power was in series, and we rewired it in parallel, and we had rolls of Romex duct taped to our outside of our suitcases. That probably wouldn't fly today either. Mm-hmm. So when you're going on one of these trips, there's always some advanced planning. Got to figure out your licenses, customs clearance for the gear, make sure you know what your power sources are, how reliable they are, whether you need transient protection. Prepare your equipment, make sure everything's working, pack it carefully, and get it ready for transport. Some tools and repair parts. Many places we go, there's really, you can't go to a Radio Shack, and in a few cases, there weren't any other hams there either. So you have to bring most of what you are going to need. Have to prepare to work in the local climate. In this particular case, that was really easy because it was a gorgeous, gorgeous climate. So I was assigned well, first let me tell you how I got there. Olaf G0CKV was putting together, he's been several times operating from 3B8 and 3B9 Rodriguez. And he had also, with his wife, stayed at this really nice villa that could accommodate quite a few people. And he decided to combine the two and use that for a contest site. First time he'd done that. And originally it was going to be a bunch of other Gs who were going, but several of them had to back out. So we contacted Dick Norton, our director, N6AA, and his predecessor, Art Goddard, W6XD, now Silent Key. And there was room for two of them, and they were going to do a multi-single. And Dick, of course, like me, says, look, if you're going to all that trouble, why leave most of the transmitters quiet? Let's just do multi-multi. It won't necessarily be competitive, but we'll make more contacts, and that's why we're there. So he said, okay, well, we can accommodate one more operator. And they called me, and I said, absolutely. So Olaf said he was going to take care of the low band antennas, which I'll show you shortly. And my responsibility, besides bringing two amplifiers, was to bring the high band antennas. And so what I built were, these are antennas I had built for our HQ3Z expedition. And these SKB golf club cases are just perfect when you cut your antennas where all the pieces are 4 feet or less. So I managed to get 10, 15, and 20 two-element vertical dipole arrays. These are the designs originally by Tom Schiller, then of Force 12 Electronics. And I got them to just under 50 pounds. And because it's a golf club case, they treat it as sporting equipment, which means you don't have to worry about the dimensional overage. And I said, yeah, it's radio sport, so that's sporting equipment. That counts. So where are we going? Okay, here's the Indian Ocean. You see Madagascar here. And there are a number of other rare spots. You got Seychelles, and you got Reunion down here. And there's Mauritius. Okay, so that's where we're going. It's a long trip. It's literally the other side of the world, about 12,000 miles. So getting there is a very long flight. I ended up getting a good deal on Air France. We kind of kept watching the fares, and they got to just around $1,200 round trip. And I said, oh, sold. So I took it. So we left LAX. We had to have a 12-hour flight roughly to De Gaulle, and then stayed a 12-hour layover at De Gaulle Airport, and then another 12-hour flight to get to Mauritius. So a lot of time in the air and in between. As we were flying over East Africa, I looked out and I noticed these row clouds. I've been reading about row clouds, but I'd never seen them. Well, here they were aplenty as far as you could see. So there's Mauritius. The airport's down here in the lower right, the short red arrow. And we have a trip up here to Rochers Noir, or Black Rock, which is the area of our operating site. And it doesn't look like it's too far, 20, 30 kilometers, but you're going through local roads. So it takes a while. It's over an hour drive. But we got there. And this place that Olaf had found and had vacationed, but not yet radioed at, was basically built on a little man-made island. And they had this jetty that they built up from the coast of the island. So we were out there virtually surrounded by saltwater, which is exactly what you want for those vertical dipole arrays. As I usually do, we take a look at the Great Circle map. The vertical dipole arrays, when you get them close enough to saltwater within, say, a half wavelength, they've got just about 180-degree pattern. And of course, where we were, there wasn't a whole lot to work down this way. So you could see that that's pretty good. It gives us almost everything we need in terms of coverage. But you can also see, the horizon being on the opposite end, here's a single hop, and it's several hops to Europe and several even more to the US. Everything's pretty far away. Not like when we were over here in the Gambia, and we had, everything was virtually close in this circle. So we knew that was going to be a challenge, but that's okay. That's part of the game. This house was really well built. It had concrete walls like 2 feet thick. It was designed to withstand any tropical or subtropical storms that may come along. And along with sleeping room for like 10 or 12 people, it also had this beautiful, this is just a small part of this covered patio, which turned out to be our construction area. That table ended up being our station, which I'll show you shortly. And then beyond that is a big area where we used to have breakfast. The remote control on the shutters. So if the weather is such that you need to close them up, you just push a few buttons and they come down. That only happened once or twice. Most of the time it was clear sailing. And you can see the water's right here, just gorgeous out there. You'll see right here on this table, some aluminum. Those are the vertical dipoles that I was taking out and starting to build. I started with 10 meters and worked my way up. Now I'd said Olaf is responsible for the low band antennas, and he used spider beam collapsing fiberglass poles, which you see here. And those are a lot longer than will fit in a golf club case, but he used ski bags to carry those, which I think are better than 8 feet long. And that allowed, or surf bags, whatever. And so that allowed him to bring these on. I think one was a 12 meter, and there were a couple of 17 meter poles. You can tilt them up, but it was easier to push them up a bit at a time, and I'll show you that. So first thing I did, start putting antennas up. And these vertical dipoles, it's like a driven element fed in the middle, but it gets thinner and longer on the top and thicker and shorter on the bottom, so that it's fairly balanced. And then you have a piece you put in the sand or the ground, and there's a fiberglass insulator there for the high voltage. And these are little chokes that I wound. I just brought some 4-inch tubing with me, just some old 4-inch drain tubing, and we wound the appropriate coils around them to keep some of the RF off the coax, and you kind of take it off at a right angle, and it works pretty well. We had a little trouble on 15, but we eventually got there. Here we were putting up the 20. This was at low tide, but you can see it's pretty shallow, so we had a nice long pole there. And once we got them guyed, there was not a huge amount of wind, so we didn't have to worry about, as it turns out, about taking that. And this stake here, this is a big piece of rebar that the other tube is going to go over, and then the insulator, and then the reflector. And you see, I just got it there ready to go. That's about the spacing that you need on 20 meters. There's the 10-meter array. It went up very easily. Only weighs, probably each element weighs maybe a pound or so at the most, and they go together pretty easily. These things are made to be riveted together like most Force 12 stuff, but what we do is we put the rivet heads in to secure them, and then we shove tape over the plunger and wrap it around. So when we're done at the end, you just undo the tape, pull the rivets out for reuse later, and take the pieces apart. So it goes together and comes apart fairly quickly. Here's the 40, and this is one of those push-up masts. Now, the pieces are about 8 feet, so we had to stand on rocks and ladders and stuff because it takes a couple of people to push and tighten the clamps. But we got it up section at a time, one set of guys. And Olaf designed these so that they were a little bit long. He had a little bit of a tail on the lower bands, and then he used a capacitor at the bottom to tune out the reactance, and he says it gives you a little better bandwidth on that. So here we are at the causeway, looking out toward the home from the mainland, or from the island shore, I should say. And there's 80 and 160, and you can see there's a bend here because we've got a pretty long tail up here. But they did work. All of them worked. prior to the contest, I got on the air on 80, and in fact, right around our sunset, and got on 80 CW and managed to work W6YA Jim, and that was a thrill, and quite a few other folks. So these things actually work quite well, and being right close to saltwater, they're happy. The patterns were pretty good. So I told you I worked some Southern California, and somebody said, "Oh, is it short path or long path?" And I said, "Well, what's the difference here? They're both long." But of course, we were going on the nighttime path on 80 meters. Here's the other half of that big covered patio, and you see this is really nicely appointed. This place comes with the services of two local ladies who every morning they come and they cook us a nice breakfast, big breakfast, and they set that out here, and we sit around and eat breakfast before we get to the day's work. And they also cook a late lunch or early dinner, so we've got 2 meals and lots of leftovers. And they also clean up. So even though we're traipsing sand back and forth, trying to be careful, it gets a little dirty. So they're sweeping up every day, making the beds. It was really a luxury to have that help, and they were very nice. So here's Olaf, G0CKV. You say, well, why do you have a Swedish name and an English call sign? Well, Olaf founded a little company you may have heard of called Inmarsat. And he became very big in the satellite communications industry. And most of his time was spent in the UK doing that. So he got a UK call sign that is his primary. Very great guy. He's, for as accomplished as he is, very low key, very easy to work with, and just a real gentleman and a great operator. He loves the low bands, good ears. So, and he had planned out a lot of stuff. He brought a lot of things with him. So we didn't have to worry about what was supplied. It happened at the time we had 5 operators, and we really needed one more. And it happened at the time, Dave Sumner, K1ZZ, most of you know, former ARL CEO, was in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt on an IARU meeting. And we said, Dave, you're 2/3 of the way there. Just come and operate. So he did. So he joined us, and boy, what an asset. Of course, Dave is known as a world-class operator and has phenomenal ears. One of the issues there is that even though we're kind of out away from, man-made noise and so on, you've got a huge amount of natural noise coming from the Central African area, the jungles there and the thunderstorms, and then over in Indonesia and the thunderstorms there on the other side. So we had lots and lots of static crashes that would take out bits and pieces of dits and das and call signs. And fortunately, Dave probably is encyclopedic in his knowledge of call signs. And I'm sure that his ability to take a partial and get it right contributed greatly to success there. So as I say, we have one table with all 4 of the operating stations. We use good low pass filter or band pass filters on each radio, and then we have a set of stub filters that we built for the amplifiers, because these can't really take all the power from an amp. But the stub filters give you another 20 dB, 25 dB rejection. And most of the places we've gone to operate multi-op, you're on one piece of property and you've got 4 or 5 or even 6 bands going at once. And you have to be able to kill that, the interference between the bands. So part of it is antenna layout. Part of it is having good, robust radios. We generally use K3s with the upgraded synthesizers, so they're pretty quiet and they're pretty robust in terms of receive. We have the bandpass filters, we have the stub filters, and with all that, we usually manage to get the crossband interference down to where just don't land on the other guy's harmonic, and other than that, you're good. My late great friend Art Goddard, W6XD, and our past ARL Southwestern Division Director. And Art and and Dave teamed up on the 15/40 station, which was very, very productive, as you'd expect. Nighttime, we had Denny KX7M on the low bands, and Dick N6AA was the main pilot on 20 meters. Now, you see all these computers close together. I told you that we worked very hard to get the RF from each station out from the other ones, and that worked pretty well. We're good at that. But what we didn't count on was when somebody transmits, having the computers that are sitting right next to the radios and the amps start going bonkers or blanking their screen or whatever. So that turned out to be the biggest interband challenge, if you will. And Denny KX7M is an IT guy by profession, and Olaf had brought a good supply of ferrites. So Denny very patiently and very methodically worked one cable at a time and kept isolating the problem and then fixing it with ferrites and then going to the next one. And several days before the contest was ready, he had actually gotten all the RF to computer interference resolved. So, man, what a great job he did. So we had, let's say, 3 full power stations. That's my HL 550 amplifier, a little solid state amplifier, weighs about 21 pounds. We used for 20 meters, just like we did in Echo 51 in Cook Islands. And then we have expert linears for 15, 40, and for the low band station. The 4th station was just a single K3, no amplifier. We used that mainly on 10. The 10 was not particularly productive this time. We made some contacts, but we heard more than we could work. So here's the result. As you see, 160, pretty good. We got 40 countries, 16 zones. 80 meters, pretty productive, almost 1,000 contacts. That's about any good performance. I've been the 80 meter operator at the Alpha 73 Alpha a lot of our operations. So, and getting around 1,000 Qs is about what you hope for, and we got there. Look at the numbers on 40 meters, 2,300 contacts, very good, 38 zones. 15 meters was our champ, as I said, between Dave and Art, they just killed it on 15 and 40. You can see they did a phenomenal job. And not as many zones, but 129 countries. The only, as I recall, the only zone we did not work on any band was Zone 1, Alaska, and never actually heard them. So that was probably the biggest challenge. But again, we were low in the sunspot cycle, and that's a long way away, and there's a lot of stuff in between that and the noise. So unfortunately, we didn't get Zone 1, but we got most of the others. So, and our final score is about 19 million, which was enough to beat K3LR and take one of the top 10 spots among the multis. Again, it's not like operating from Northern or Western Africa where everything is a hop away and on easy on 6 bands. But boy, what a lot of fun. And we had, I think, wonderful team chemistry. Everybody chipped in whatever it was. And so that's kind of the story. So let's stop sharing and see if people have questions. I know you've got to close up in a couple of minutes.
What year was this again?
Let's see. This was, let me go back. Let's check my list here. I think it was 2019. Yeah, November 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Bob W6ACU.
Hey, Bob.
Hi. Very interesting. Thank you very much. Hey, how did you feed those vertical dipoles up through the bottom element?
No, we didn't. We fed them basically just as with the coax that's split out and then wrapped, we got a choke around it to the 2 halves, just like you would on a yagi. And then I brought the coax straight back
Okay.
at a right angle. And in fact, in one of those pictures or more, you'll see it going straight back to the reflector and then off from there. So we tried to keep it out of the plane of the RF.
Yeah. Had you thought about feeding it up through the bottom element and what the ramifications might be?
No, we didn't. Well, for one thing, I mean, you've got rivets going through there and everything
Yeah.
else. It would be a real pain. And I mean, you realize the 10-meter part is not even thick enough to hold a piece of coax.
Okay.
You know, in some cases, you couldn't use like RG8. So,
I'm just curious about that because I was worried.
And these are not permanent installations. They have to last a weekend. So we want to do it as quickly and easily as possible and threading everything through the elements.
Yeah.
And then you've got a high voltage point there. You'd have to have chokes down there, and it wasn't worth the trouble.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks.
Sure. Other questions, comments? Okay, I guess we're done.
Yeah, not seeing any hands raising here. Guys, nobody? No?
Thanks, Marty. It's always fun to hear about
Marty.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Thank you. Nobody asked where I'm going next.
Yeah, I'm curious, actually.
Actually, I've got arranged to operate in Kenya 5Z4 for a phone weekend at the end of October. So that will be my 23rd zone. In Africa, I've done 39, 38, 33, 35. This will take care of 37 and just leave 2 to go in Africa.
So what's that situation? Is there an existing station there? You're going to bring everything?
Yes, there's a friend that I met when I was at Echo 2 Alpha in Thailand. He was a Brit who was working in Kenya, and he regularly came to operate, but this time just to visit the folks at Echo 2 Alpha, Stieg and Champ and team there in Thailand. And he had expressed the desire to go to Visalia sometime before he croaked. And I said, well, how about this coming year? So he said he'd see about arranging it, and he was able to arrange a trip. We arranged to get him there, and I said, "You fly to LAX, I'll take you from there." Got him to Kicker's hotel and everything else. We had a great time. He was a rock star there, and just had a fantastic time. He said this was going to be a once and done thing, but he said, "I want to come back. This is so much fun." So it was, everybody treated him very well, and he was great making eyeball contact with people he'd known only over the radio for so many years. And so as we were talking on the way back, and I said, if you become aware of an opportunity to operate in zone 37, it's one that I need. And so he said, I'm going to be retiring in June, and I will end up with an apartment, and I'll be able to put an antenna up there. So why don't you plan on coming by? So I'll be going the week before, and we're going to put up a hex beam and a couple of low band wires. Now I know that low bands are very, very noisy there in Nairobi, just because of the man-made noise. Often you can't hear much of anything, but we're going to give it a try. If the low bands are that bad, I'll get some sleep, and that's not too bad. But the high bands should be playing pretty well.
Did you say the phone or the CW weekend?
Phone. This will be end of October.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It looks like I'll be up at KL7RA again for the CW weekend.
Oh, great. Yeah, and I think Andy's actually going to be in St. Helena for CW meeting with Oliver W6NV. So they're going to do something there for CW, but figured I'd grab this opportunity while he extended it, which was very gracious of him. So should be fun. All right. Anything else?
Anything else? Right. Well,
okay. Thank you, guys. Marty. Good to see everybody, and good luck this fall season, and hope to see some of you at Visalia next spring.
Thanks again.
All right. 7-3.
Bye-bye.